Ever been on one of those dates where you just want to like sink into your chair? You know those ones I'm talking
Oh,
about?
yeah, where you wish you could just disappear.
Exactly. Like spill your drink or just say the wrong thing.
Totally.
And you're just like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, we are going deep today
Okay.
into awkward first date stories.
Ooh, fun.
And all these stories come from this popular podcast where they ask listeners to share their most cringeworthy first date experiences.
I love that. So what kind of insights are we getting from these stories?
Well, I think it's kind of fascinating how these stories are funny, but they also show you how much anxiety people feel when they're trying to make a good first impression.
Yeah, for sure. It's a universal thing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And these stories we're looking at are from India. They were shared by listeners on a Hindi language podcast.
Interesting.
And the best part, the hosts of that show also shared their own stories.
Oh, no way. So they're getting in on the awkwardness, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Their stories are priceless.
It's nice when they can be vulnerable like that, too, right? Makes the listeners feel like they're not alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes for some hilarious storytelling.
Okay. I'm ready. Hit me with an awkward story.
All right, so this first story is from Ria from Mumbai.
Okay.
She went on this coffee date that went south when her date's love for cricket totally took over.
Oh, I feel like I can already see where this is going. Everyone's got that one topic they could talk about for hours.
Right. And sometimes you just get stuck listening.
Ugh. Yeah, I've definitely been there. It's like you're trapped in a lecture.
That's exactly what happened to Ria.
Oh, no.
So she said everything was fine at first,
Okay.
and then her date asked if she liked cricket.
All right.
And she politely said, absolutely, which in hindsight maybe wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, you never know when a simple yes will unleash a torrent of information.
Well, that's exactly what happened.
Oh.
He just launched into this like play-by-play of a recent match.
No way.
I know, complete with like detailed commentary.
Oh, my.
I know, about the pitch conditions and player stats.
Oh, God.
Like you name it. He even stopped mid-commentary to ask, do you know what a power play is?
Oh, my God. He totally forgot he was on a date.
He was so in the zone.
Yeah.
It's like he forgot he was on a date.
I wonder if it was nerves. You know, sometimes people overcompensate when they're nervous.
Yeah.
And their passion just kind of hijacks the conversation.
That's a good point.
So what did Ria do?
She said she just kept stirring her coffee
Oh, no.
and waited for it to be over.
Oof.
She was hoping he'd pick up on her, like, lack of engagement.
Yeah.
But no, it was all cricket all the time.
It's almost like conversational narcissism, right?
What's that?
Like, it's not that they're intentional being rude or anything, but they just kind of dominate the conversation without realizing how the other person feels.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely met people like that.
It makes you think about how to balance passion with being a good conversationalist, right?
It's fine to share your interests.
Yeah.
But you got to make sure the other person feels heard, too.
Exactly. It's all about that back and forth, the give and take, you know?
Yeah. That's what makes a conversation enjoyable.
Especially on a date.
Especially on a date. Okay. So speaking of awkward encounters,
Cool.
one of the podcast hosts shared this story about a first date
Yeah?
that involved food, a white shirt, and a very observant waiter.
Oh, this sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so picture this. You're on a date, things are going well,
Mm-hmm.
and then bam, you spill food all over yourself.
Oh, no. The classic nightmare.
Right, so this host was having dinner with his date, and a piece of food just slipped off his fork
Oh, no.
and landed right on his crisp white shirt.
Ugh, that sinking feeling, I can totally relate to that. It's
Ex-
like when you're trying so hard to make a good impression and something like that happens.
Exactly, and he said his date was cool about it.
Okay.
She was like, don't worry, it happens.
Oh, okay.
But then the waiter came over, and in Hindi he asked, Sir kek, or shirt lain kya? Which means, sir, should I bring you another shirt?
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
I know, right?
It's like the waiter is adding insult to injury.
Right. And it just shows how much pressure we put on ourselves to look perfect on a first date.
Yeah, for sure. But do you think it's just about impressing the other person?
That's a good question.
Or is there something else going on that makes us so awkward on first dates?
I think it's a mix of things.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you're nervous and want to be liked,
Yeah.
but there's also this pressure to present a certain image.
Yeah, totally. Like,
Yeah.
we're trying to be this perfect version of ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes us so self-conscious.
And then we end up doing stuff that's even more awkward.
Exactly.
But you know what? Sometimes those awkward moments are what make the date memorable.
Yeah. It's true.
It's like the things that go wrong are what you end up laughing about later.
Totally. They break the tension and make it more real.
And it creates a connection, right? Like you're both in on the joke.
Yeah, totally. It's like those imperfections make it more authentic somehow.
Exactly. So it's not about being perfect, it's about being real.
Okay, so speaking of trying too hard,
Oh.
our next story is about this guy who tried to impress his date with his sophisticated taste,
Okay, I'm intrigued.
but it backfired big time.
Let's hear it.
This story comes from Kabir in Delhi.
Okay.
He took his date to this really fancy French restaurant.
Fancy French restaurant.
Yeah, he wanted to wow her, you know.
Oh, yeah, I've been there trying to pick something that sounds impressive.
But the problem was he couldn't understand the menu.
Oh, no. The classic I'll have what she's having situation.
Right. But he didn't want to look clueless.
Oh, I feel so bad for him already. I hate feeling like that.
So he just picked a random dish.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, when the food arrived,
Yeah.
it was a whole octopus staring back at him.
Oh, my God. No way.
And the worst part? Kabir hates seafood.
Oh, no. You've got to be kidding me.
I know, right? It's like the universe was playing a prank on him.
That is brutal. It's like the more you try to be someone you're not,
Yeah.
the more likely it is that things will go hilariously wrong.
So what did he do?
Yeah. When
Well, I'm dying to know.
he said the moment he saw that octopus, he wished he could just rewind his life.
Oh my God, I could totally imagine that feeling.
Right. Like, nope, take it back.
Exactly.
But he didn't want to make a scene.
So he ate it.
He tried to.
Oh no.
Let's just say his reaction wasn't pretty.
I can only imagine this story really makes you think, doesn't it?
About.
Like, is it more important to be impressive or authentic on a date?
That's a good question.
Because Kabir was so focused on seeming sophisticated
Right.
that he ended up having a miserable time.
Yeah, and probably making his date uncomfortable too.
Exactly. So is there a way to strike a balance? Like, how do you put your best foot forward without pretending to be someone you're not?
I think it's about being genuine.
Yeah.
Like, you can still be yourself, even if you're a little nervous.
And honestly, I think people appreciate that more than someone who's trying too hard to be someone they're not.
Totally. There's something really endearing about someone who can laugh at themselves.
Yeah. Like if they spill their drink or can't pronounce something on the menu.
Exactly. It shows they're not taking themselves too seriously.
So what do we learn from all these stories?
Well, it seems like trying to be perfect on a first date can really backfire.
Right. And maybe it's those imperfect moments.
The awkward silences, the fumbles, the mishaps.
Yeah.
Maybe those are the things that actually bring people closer.
That's a good point. Because they create a shared experience.
Right. Like you're both in on the joke.
And it breaks the tension.
Exactly. So instead of dreading those moments,
Yeah.
what if we embrace them?
I like that. Because they're going to happen anyway, right?
They are. We're all human. We all make mistakes.
So true. So if you can laugh at yourself,
And with your date,
yeah,
it can actually create a stronger connection.
that makes a lot of sense.
So the next time you're on a date and something awkward happens,
Mm-hmm.
just remember these stories
Yeah.
and try to see the humor in it.
Don't take it too seriously.
Exactly, because who knows? Maybe that awkward moment will turn into a funny story you'll be telling for years to come.
And it's funny how, like, years later, you can look back on something that was so awkward and just laugh about it.
I know, right? It's like it's not even awkward anymore.
Yeah, it becomes a story.
Exactly, a good story.
And maybe those awkward moments are kind of like a test.
A test. What do you mean?
Like, they help you see if you're actually compatible with someone.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like, if they can't laugh about a spilled drink or something,
Yeah.
maybe they're just not the right person for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like they're not flexible enough.
Exactly. They need everything to be perfect.
And that's not how real life works.
Right. Real life is messy and unpredictable.
So true. And the best people are the ones who can roll with the punches.
So anyone listening who's maybe getting ready for a first date,
Oh, yeah. Good advice coming.
or even just going to a party or something,
Any kind of social situation, really.
just remember those stories we talked about.
Yeah. Those people were brave enough to share their awkward experiences.
And they all survived.
They did. And now they have great stories to tell.
So don't be afraid to be yourself,
Yeah. Embrace the awkwardness.
because it's going to happen anyway.
It is. We're all human.
And sometimes those awkward moments are the ones that lead to the best connections.
Exactly. So relax, have fun, and see what happens.
That's great advice. And that's it for our deep dive into awkward first dates.
Oh, it's over already.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun.
It does, but this was a good one.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed hearing these stories.
And maybe learned a thing or two about how to embrace the awkwardness in your own life.
Because sometimes the best things happen when we least expect them.
That's so true.
Go out there, be yourself, and don't be afraid to laugh at yourself along the way.
And who knows, maybe you'll end up with a great story to tell too.